championship aspirations. That comes with the territory.
Absolute dogfight until the very last routine. Phenomenal. That front double pike, no problem. And he gets the stick to top it all off. He gets a stuck double front dismount. Nobody does a Maltese better. These guys are not playing around.
Next step, the Big Ten Championships.
And the Big Ten Network is proud to bring you the Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Championships. The team championship tonight and the all-around tonight, featuring 5 fantastic teams, including your host Michigan, Nebraska, Penn State, Ohio State, and Illinois. We put them in that order because when you look at the national rankings, you right away get the sense that any one of these teams could win a Big Ten title. In fact, any one of these teams could win a national championship. As it relates to the Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Championships, it's been the story of the Michigan Wolverines. They've won 4 in a row, looking to make it 5 in a row at home, and probably are the favorites. And good evening, everyone. Dean Linke, delighted to be with Brandon Burns. And Brandon, indeed, Michigan's the favorite, but you feel like any of these teams could win it.
That's right, Dean. Michigan is certainly the favorite coming into tonight's competition, but these other 4 Big Ten teams are not going to make it easy. I believe that whichever team is the most consistent tonight, that's going to be your winner.
All right, let's go to work and talk about the all-around story.
Well, in the all-around, you can never exclude the Olympian Fred Richard. He's your defending Big Ten all-around champion and brings some of the highest difficulty we'll see all night. So if he's on, he will be tough to catch. Perhaps his biggest threat, though, comes from within his own team, the other Olympic medalist, Paul Judah. He's a former NCAA all-around champion, so expect some fierce competition between those two. But there are a couple more who could make a run for it, namely the veteran Taylor Christopoulos. 8-time All-American, you can never count him out. And finally, keep your eye on the young buck Ian Sandoval. He's the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and if anyone else opens a door, do not be surprised if he walks through it.
How about some other gymnasts to watch?
Well, outside of the all-around, we've got a few more superstars to watch. The Illini's Brandon Dang has the highest average score in the country on pommel horse. Ohio State's Cameron Nelson ranked first in the country on vault and floor, but Michigan's Charlie Larson can give Cameron a run for his money on floor because he actually led that event for most of the season. Finally, Nebraska's Chris Heiser has one of the cleanest rings routines you'll ever see and leads the conference on that event.
It's 2 wonderful nights at the Chrysler Center, and the format for the team in all-around, 6 rotations, 2 events at a time, 4 up, 4 count, and the team in all-around champions determined tonight, the 6 individual champions tomorrow night.
And gymnastics scoring is a mix of 2 things. How hard is the routine and how well do you do it? You take the 8 most difficult skills a gymnast does, add up the values of those skills, that gives you the difficulty score. Separately, your execution starts from a perfect 10. Judges deduct from that for any errors. You take the difficulty score, combine it with what's left of your execution score, that gives us our final number.
5 teams, 5 outstanding coaches. We'll start with Illinois, Daniel Ribeiro, 3-time Big Ten pommel horse champ as an Illinois gymnast and doing a great job. Coach Schau, he's been in the Big Ten championship meet and won it every time, replacing Kurt Golder, as he is delighted to be coaching at home. Chuck Shimelka was a 3-time national champion as a gymnast for Nebraska with his assistant Jim Hartung. Rustam Sharapov, 2-time gold medalist, including the 1996 Olympics where he won the P-bars in Atlanta. And Penn State's Randy Jempson, not only a 3-time National Coach of the Year, but a 3-time national champion in 34 seasons as the top man at Penn State. It only makes sense to take a look at Kurt Golder as he has built this program into something really special.
I mean, look at the championship ring on the guy's hand. I think that says everything right there, doesn't it?
Yeah, he is so excited to have the Big Ten Championships here. Let's talk deductions a little bit, Brandon Burns.
Well, there's only a couple hundred deductions that the judges could possibly take, but here's some of the most common. You'll see them highlighted here. Steps or hops, you'll see that on every event. 1/10 for a small one, 3/10 for a bigger one. Bent arms, bent legs, general form deductions, that can be 1/10, 3/10, or 5/10 depending on the severity. But the big one that you want to avoid, you see it at the bottom of the screen there, a fall, that is a full point deduction.
Two box for you as we plan to show you everybody. So we got the two box. Michigan will start on the floor where they're first in the Big Ten, second in the country. Penn State will start on the horse where they're seventh in the country, fourth in the Big Ten. Solon Chiotti is up first out of Marquette, Michigan. Ethan Dick will start on the horse for Penn State.
And Dean, I cannot overstate enough the importance of these first two routines. The Big Ten Championships is a very special environment. It's high energy, it's high pressure, and you want to lead off with a hit routine.
Solon's last meet, he set his career high, 14.6. The meet before that, he had a 13.8. That's a big jump.
And he's capable of big numbers. You just saw him complete that scale on the left-hand side of your screen. On the right, though, Ethan Dick for the Nittany Lions. A solid lead-off routine there. That should score very well and get them off to a great start on that event.
Ethan Dick coming off a 13.5. I feel like he may top that. We'll see.
Keep in mind, pommel horse is a slightly lower scoring event than floor, so you might see a slightly higher number from Michigan here. He did just go out of bounds, though. Depending on if the judge says that was 1 foot out or 2 feet out, it'll either be a 1/10 or 3/10 deduction.
Yanni Karopoulos with a 13 his last time out. Illinois, Garrett Schooley. His last meet, he had a 13, which happened to be his best score in an Illinois jersey.
And he'll want to do a little bit better than that tonight. When speaking with Coach Ribeiro of Illinois, he said rings is their weakest event this year. Interestingly enough, they're starting on their weakest event and finishing on pommel horse, which is their strongest.
Illinois 7th in the country on the rings. David Ramirez, 8th in the country. His last meet, a 13.5, but he is capable of bigger scores with a career high of 14.3.
Inside your screen, Schooley for the Illini. Big dismount, double twisting, double back. Does take, I would say, a 3/10 slide back, but gets a hit for the first routine out. Oh, meanwhile, on vault on the right, David Ramirez for the Buckeyes almost sticks his first vault. That's probably only a 1/10 deduction on that step. Remember, vault is usually the highest scoring event in men's gymnastics because it's only one skill. There's less opportunity to take deduction, so that's going to be a great score to get things started for the Buckeyes.
The Olympian, last year's all-around winner on the floor, Fred Richard for Michigan.
And Dean, just to put this in perspective, typically in your lineup, you're going to save your absolute best guys for last. You expect the scores to climb a little bit as the lineup progresses. To have an Olympic medalist, Fred Richard, as your second man up just proves the strength and depth of this Michigan team.
Meanwhile, up on the horse is Kasper Garncherik for Penn State.
Fred on the left there had a massive opening pass. Double twisting, double layout. That's 2 flips, 2 twists in a straight body position. All double layout skills have been upgraded this year in the newest code, so that was worth a lot of difficulty points. Kasper on the right, running out of gas just a little bit at the end there. He hit it well. He looked a little bit tired, but goodness, he had a great fight and made it look very smooth. That's another hit routine on horse for the Nittany Lions. And that is borderline disaster for Fred Richard on the left. I know it looked casual, but he went up towards a handstand. His hips reversed direction, came back down, and then he went back up again. That should be no credit for that skill. And that's an easy skill for Fred as well. You don't want to give up those tenths on skills like that.
Cole Partridge coming off a 13.95 at his last meet, just short of his career high of 14. Now on the P-bars, Fred Richard wrapping up his floor routine.
On the left side of your screen, check this out. He goes up, back down, and then back up. By definition of the code, that is no credit for that skill, plus a 5/10 deduction. And Dean, sometimes that's just a matter of nerves. This is a big competition, a big arena. Sometimes it gets to you every once in a while. It's not a complete disaster. He can come back from that, but he's got to be careful.
Now it's Ryan Vanish-Thernot on the rings for Illinois.
On the right, Cole Partridge finishing up his parallel bar routine. Really big amplitude on every skill. His straddle front 1 1/4 really had great height on that. And his dismount as well, just lofty in the air. Check this out. Finishes the second flip almost at bar height. Big time air. On your left, Ryan Vanish-Thernot. That combination you just saw, the Yamawaki or double front between the rings, directly into a back uprise handstand, almost compulsory these days based on the new bonus points.
Christian Grachowski ready to go. This after David Ramirez set a new career high on the ball to lead things off for the Buckeyes.
I knew it when we saw it. It was going to be a big number. If Christian Grachowski can do it again, that's going to bode very well for the Buckeyes. A little bit of form in the air, but he was straight down the middle, which is exactly what the judges want to see. That's another good vault for Ohio. Taking another look. This is a Kazumatsu-style vault. Does a cartwheel onto the table. Again, just a little bit soft knees, maybe a 1/10 deduction for bending those knees before landing. But overall, it's a strong vault for Ohio State.
Landon Simpson next to go for Penn State. Another Olympian for Michigan, the great Paul Judah.
We'll be saying that a lot. Olympian. When you have two Olympic athletes in your lineup and they're both competing all around, we're going to have the treat of seeing these guys quite often. But look at the right side of your screen. Landon Simpson for Penn State. Those flares, such dynamic work all the way down the pommel horse. Does almost his entire routine in that flare position. That's so exhausting, but he makes it look easy. And on the left side of your screen, I don't think Paul Judah has not stuck a single pass of this floor routine so far. This is textbook execution. Dean, I spoke with all the coaches before we got started here tonight. Almost unanimously, everybody said whoever can go 24 for 24, that's who's going to win.
We'll see if Joey Pape can do it. Pape, the senior, out of Arizona.
And Paul Judah for the Wolverines. I didn't see the green flag go up, but it looked an awful lot like a stick to me. Look at the amplitude on that double layout. Be the judge at home. Did he stick the dismount? Full twisting double back, a little slide. Not sure if they'll give it to him, but nonetheless, that's about as textbook as it gets.
Remember, it's now 4 up, 4 count. Paul Judah expecting a big score after Chiotti and Richard both with a 13-3. For Richard, that's his second lowest floor score this season. Jacob Harmon on the right for the Buckeyes. Go ahead.
Well, that Fred Richard score just simply came down to that handstand that we mentioned earlier. The tumbling was great, but even though it didn't look like a major break, those are the things that the judges are watching for.
Logan Myers in his last meet, a 13-3-5.
Jacob Harmon on the right for the Buckeyes. Almost gets the stick on vault. That's a Yurchenko style vault. Round off onto the springboard, back handspring onto the table. Usually a little bit cleaner and easier to score high on those styles of vaults. So he reaches back onto the table, only a double full. And right there, just barely gave up the step. There's a couple small form breaks there, maybe a little pike down in the air, but overall, pretty solid.
Charlie Larson, the anchor for Coach Schau and the Michigan Wolverines. His last two meets, including setting a career high 14.85, and the meet before he had a 14.8, so he's running hot. Josh Carnes is always running hot.
Always. These are two phenomenal routines. On the left, Charlie Larson, he led the country on floor exercise for the majority of the season. On your right, Josh Carnes, a little trouble. He looked like he kicked the pommel horse a little bit, but that's a tough skill called a busanari. Up to the handstand and back down. Josh, usually known as a parallel bar guy, for good reason. He's the defending Big Ten champ on that event. But he's quite the all-arounder as well. Not doing all-around tonight, but very capable athlete. And a dynamic finish for Josh Carnes. I believe that was a perfect pommel horse rotation, 4 for 4 for the Nittany Lions. That bodes well for them.
Larson, as you noted, second in the country on the floor. Here's Taylor Christopoulos. Only one Nebraska gymnast in the Chuck Chimelka era has had better scores. That was Anton Stevenson. That's how good Taylor Christopoulos has been.
Taylor is the definition of a veteran. We mentioned it during the Open, an 8-time All-American. He's got a ton of competitive experience, looking to put that on display tonight.
Preston Nye, 15 in the country for Illinois.
And on the right, Taylor Christopoulos made that look a little too easy. He had a pretty late catch on that skill called a Makoots. Up to one bar, Keeley twirl on the way back down. His hand hit the bar almost when his body swung through the bottom of the bars. It's very difficult to maintain control when you do that, but a veteran makes it look easy. Nice routine for Taylor.
Number one in the country on your right, Cameron Nelson on the vault with a career high of 14.55. His last meet of 14.25.
This will be one of the most difficult vaults we see all evening. It's a front handspring, 2.5 twist. He leads the country on this event for a reason. Here it is. Very, very nicely done. 3/10 step back on the landing, but he's just got so much power. Makes it look easy.
See the Carnes score changing.
Here's what the judges see. Very low on the vault table. Almost on the black part of the vault right there.
Speaking of the vault judges, they changed the Ramirez score to 14.15, so he did not set a career high. His initial score was that. They adjusted it the wrong way.
Always hate to see that happen as an athlete. And to be fair, they can't change the execution score. They can only go back and change the difficulty value. So they said he didn't do a routine quite as difficult as they did at first.
So it's 4 up, 4 count, with the exception of we're also crowning an all-around champion tonight, and that's where Ian Sandoval rolls in. You talked about him in the Open. He gets to finish things up here for Illinois on the rings. His last meet of 13.1.
So this routine will not count toward the team total. This is only for Ian's all-around campaign. He's had a great season. Unfortunately had a big crash on this event at the Winter Cup competition. Took him out of competing for a few weeks. It's great to see him back. Good job controlling that handstand. It's called the still rings for a reason. Sometimes when you get a little bit of a swing in the rings, it can disrupt your rhythm. Did a good job of navigating that. Double twisting, double back dismount, small hop, but that will be a nice score to contribute to his all-around campaign this evening.
We are off and running here at the Chrysler Center. We'll take a look at the dismount for Sandoval.
2 flips, 2 twists, almost just needed to absorb the landing a little more, bend his knees a little bit more, but that was a solid routine.
What a great start here at the Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor. Cameron Nelson with a big score for the Buckeyes. Paul Judah with a 14.25 on the floor for Michigan. Men's gymnastics on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Right outside the Chrysler Center, right around from the big house. It's on the marquee, and let's take a look at our State Farm State of Success Weekly Awards.
Illinois gets the sweet Preston Nye gymnast rings and high bar. Career high in both there. Nicely done from him. Brandon Dang, one of the greatest pommel horse workers of our generation. Season high at 15-0, and of course Ian Sandoval saw him on rings just moments ago. Doing phenomenal work there.
Congratulations for the sweep for the Illini. Our State Farm State of Success. As we move to the second rotation, the floor will be open. It'll be Michigan on the horse, Penn State will be on the rings, Illinois on the vault, Ohio State on the P-bars, and Nebraska on the high bar. Some Ohio State fans in the crowd here.
And here's a look back at the first rotation. Michigan on floor, team total 54.4. But look at Paul Judah, 14.25. That is a massive number for the Wolverines. Got them off to a great start.
Definitely the front runner for the all-around.
And on the pommel horse, Penn State. A couple of lower numbers than I expected. You see the 212s there, but Ethan Dick, what a phenomenal job leading them off with that 13.55. It's a tough event to start on, especially at a championship meet. They handled it okay. They've got a little work to do, but not a bad start for the Nittany Lions. On vaults, big numbers here, especially Cameron Nelson, ranked number 1 in the country, and for good reason, 14.75.
That ties his season high.
Indeed. It's going to be fun to watch him tomorrow night in the individual event finals as well. Still rings for Illinois. Again, their weakest event this year. 2 scores in the 12s, 2 scores in the 13s. They really just needed to survive that event without any major breaks. I would say that they did that pretty effectively. Their scores should increase from this point forward.
Take a look at Nebraska's score on the P-bars.
Parallel bars, another higher scoring event. I would say vault and P-bars, you could throw floor in there, are the highest scoring events in men's gymnastics. Joey Pepe, 14.2. Great job there for the Cornhuskers. But the thing that sticks out to me the most about this Nebraska P-bar rotation is that every single score is 13.2 or higher. That bodes very, very well for them.
That's a career high for Joey, as we're throwing around career highs and season highs early doors here.
Hey, if you're going to do it, the Big Ten Championships is a good time to do it.
Zach Granados will start for Michigan. He has had back-to-back 12-8s in his last 2 meets. He does have a career high of 13.25. Kellen Ryan actually set his career high last week with a 13.15. When I say last week, I actually mean last meet.
Kellen has a fantastic back uprise cross. You see a lot of athletes enter that strength skill slightly above the cross hold position and settle into it. Kellen pops right into that iron cross. Beautiful work. Meanwhile, Granados on the left for the Wolverines. We talked about how intense of a spot this is to be the leadoff guy on pommel horse at the Big Ten Championships, especially at home. There's so much pressure. Can Zach handle it? Yes, he can. Clean all the way through. Kellen Ryan on the right. Here's another look at that iron cross. Take a look at his wrists there. You see how they're pretty straight. If you roll your wrist over the top of the rings, that's a deduction called a false grip. Kellen does a good job of avoiding that.
For me, on the left, Drake Andrews was the star of the last meet we did on the Big Ten Network. Talked to him a little bit before he got out there, as he's coming off a 13.35, a career high of 14.1. Drake Andrews for the Buckeyes, Yanni Chronopoulos on the high bar for the Huskers.
Drake Andrews just been a rock of consistency for this Buckeye team the entire season. And on the right, Yanni Chronopoulos. Oh, an unfortunate mistake for the 2024 Canadian Olympic alternate. That is a full point deduction, and he'll also lose the value for the skill unless he decides to repeat it. And it looked good. You know, you wear those grips on high bar, they have a dowel in it, and sometimes it looks like you're within reach, but if the dowel doesn't get over the bar, oh, and another mistake on the left for Drake Andrews. Uncharacteristic for Mr. Consistency. It was a good routine, just had that fall on the dismount, so 2 falls already in the second rotation. On the right there, Yanni does repeat the skill, so he will get credit for it. On the left, Drake Andrews just over-rotated that double pike.
Can tell you that Zach Granado's setting a season high for Michigan. This is Dylan Shepard for the Illini. Coming off a 14, which is his career high. He's from Orlando.
Illinois is a pretty strong vault team. That's the Yurchenko-style vault again, and that was gorgeous. Not the highest start value or max difficulty that we'll see tonight on vault, but that was clean all the way through, and the landing only a 1/10 step.
Akseli Karsikis coming off a 13 on the right, getting ready to get on the rings. He's got a career high of 13.45. Paul Judah, without question, the leader in the clubhouse for the all-around. Judah, his last 2 times on the horse, 13.6 and 13.95.
He's capable of some big numbers on this event, and it is a dynamic routine. Opens up with a McCulloch named after legendary Michigan gymnast Sam McCulloch. And an uncharacteristic mistake, his elbow just buckled there. And he did a phenomenal job of fighting through that and picking that routine back up. Takes a lot of strength to start those circles up again from basically nothing. But that's gonna hurt his score. Good dismount though, great finish. That routine was phenomenal other than that one arm buckle at the beginning. See what the judges do with that. They could be pretty strict if they wanted to.
See the score on the bottom of your Big Ten Network screen of Andrews for Ohio State.
Here's that scissor skill. It's a mini McCulloch. And right there, his leg went too high up, and he just lost balance, had to catch himself there. Good recovery, though. A lot of athletes would have fallen off the horse right there.
Tyler Burgess coming off a 13.1, capable of higher. His career high is a 13.7. He's second to go for Ohio State. Shepard just short of his career high, by the way, for the Illini is Cole Partridge on the high bar for the Cornhuskers.
And Cole has some pretty big release elements. High bar is all about high risk and high reward, especially when you do skills where you gotta let go and catch the bar again. Just like this, it's the Kovacs. Nicely done for Cole Partridge. He's not done. Here's a Tkachev. The skill his teammate fell on just before him. He handles it well. Tyler Burgess on the left, a big double front, sticks the landing. That's gonna be a nice score for the Buckeyes. Oh, and Cole on the right-hand side. takes that big step. Not sure if his knee touched the ground or not.
Amari Sewell, last year's Big Ten champion on the vault. Coming off a 13 low by his standards, as you see his career high at 14.45.
And he's capable of sticking this. That's how he won the vault title last year. Not quite, but a great vault nonetheless. Huge amplitude and big airtime for Amari Sewell.
I'll tell you, Judah with a 13-1.
Another look at the amplitude there on the left for Amari Sewell. Just soars through the air. Judah's score on horse, that 13-1, probably took at least a half of a point for that rhythm deduction that we saw when his elbow buckled there, so did not capitalize to his fullest capabilities on that event.
So Fred Richard, last two meets, 12-9 and 12-4, career high 13-9. Fred Richard on the horse for Michigan. They're 8th in the country as a team on the horse. Ian Raubel for Penn State. He's 13th in the country on the rings.
Raubel on the right showing some serious strength. Opened up that routine with a Hanma directly into a Maltese. Difficult stuff, but Fred Richard on the left, the triple Russian in between the pommels. So incredibly difficult. Tough work right there from Fred Richard over one pommel. This is a tough routine, but on the right, take a look at this dismount, double twisting, double back, just nails the landing. He will get a 1/10 stick bonus for that. So not only does he avoid deduction, but he also adds a 10th to his score for sticking that dismount.
Big time performance from Rabo. This is Richard. Check out his handwork.
It's a great shot to show how intricate all of that pommel work is. You saw the celebration, got ice in his veins. Great routine for Fred Richard.
Tyler Burgess with a new career high for the Buckeyes, 13.95. He's got a great energy about him.
He does. I always love seeing these athletes who really wear their emotions on their sleeves. And Ramirez is certainly one of those guys.
Ramirez, who just saw his teammate Burgess set a new career high. Ramirez, 21st in the Big Ten on the P-bars.
And keep an eye on the left side of your screen, because David Ramirez's dismount is one of the most difficult being done in the entire world.
Nebraska's Max Otten on the right.
And he's got a big release move coming up. The Coleman, full twisting, double back over the bar, executed well. He's gonna do one more right here. The Kovacs, nicely done. Big airtime from Max Otten. On the left, David Ramirez. Here's that dismount we mentioned. Full twisting, double back. Incredible difficulty. Just the small hop on the dismount, but big time gymnastics from Ohio State. They're having a great meet so far. Max Otten on the right. Double twisting, double layout. Does take that large step forward, but had a lot of difficulty throughout that routine. Here's one of those release moves. Kovacs. Little leg separation, probably 3/10, but overall strong routine for Nebraska.
Garrett Schooley coming off a 14.35, career high 14.45. Matthew Underhill, the anchor for Randy Jepson. Last meet, 14.1. He's 8th in the country.
And Garrett Schooley does a big vault, triple full. Nicely done. Adds an extra half twist to what we typically see out of those Kazumatsu style vaults. Makes it exponentially more difficult. 1, 2, 3. Nicely done. Just a 1/10 hop. Excellent work for the Illini.
Michigan on your left, Aronson Mansberger. Last two meets, 14.45 and a 14.6. The 14.6 is a new career high for Aronson.
Matt Underhill on the right, doing some superhuman strength, just disrespecting gravity. A Maltese that late in your routine should be impossible. You're so tired at that point. To be able to hold that skill that solid, unbelievable. Big dismount for Underhill. Big hop, but strong routine. Meanwhile, on the left, Aronson Mansberger. Nobody swings pommel horse like this young man, said Coach Shao when we spoke to him. And you can see why. Beautiful body line from shoulders to toes, open hips the entire time, and only a freshman. This kid's got such an incredible future ahead of him. Just the dismount here. Easy work for the freshman. That'll be a big number.
Taylor Christopoulos with a little bit of a slip up by Judah. Christopoulos could make a move here.
Christopoulos is one of those guys you can never count out. He's got big-time difficulty, and he's a veteran competitor. He knows how to handle the pressure, and he's got a big skill coming up in just a second here. It's called a Cassina to Coleman, but with a straight body. Watch this. A little wild in the air, but he managed to hang on to the bar.
Jesse Bekele on the left for the Buckeyes. Last to go on the P-bars for Ohio State.
Taylor Christopoulos on the right is not holding back. This is about as aggressive as I've ever seen him swing high bar. Just the dismount left here. Big airtime, double-double. Couple small hops, but nicely done from Christopoulos and Nebraska.
Kelly on the left. I talked to Taylor Christopoulos, Preston Nye.
Bekele with the celebration, and rightfully so, stuck that double front dismount cold.
So Nye up for Illinois.
2.5. Oh, and that was a little scary there with his knees. Looks like he's all right. I would have liked to see him bend his legs and absorb that landing a little bit more. Decent form in the air, should still score well for the Illini. Goes sideways onto the table, 2.5 twist, and there's, look at that right leg. Just kept it a little too straight. Needs to absorb the impact on the landing there. And if he had, I think he could have stuck that vault. It was in the right place. Just needed to be a little bit more patient on the landing.
He snuck into the lineup, I believe, for Sandoval. No, Sandoval is going to go for the all-around, so Nye is part of the 4. By the way, since we're talking Illinois vault, we can tell you that Schooley had a 14.7, just short of his career high of 14.75. Sandoval coming off a 12.55, but has put up a 14.35 this season.
And a number like that would go a long way towards his all-around campaign. I'd say he's probably the underdog compared to our veterans and our Olympians, but this kid has some big gymnastics. Nice 2.5 vault. It looked like he did step out of bounds with 1 foot, so he'll incur an additional 1/10 deduction on top of the 3 for the step itself. But big amplitude, and he travels a good distance away from the table. That's something the judges are looking for. They want to see height and distance on these vaults.
2 rotations in the books as part of our coverage of the Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Championships. We move to the 3rd rotation when we return to the Big Ten Network. Right now, get $4 off a Big Ten Plus monthly subscription and stream the remainder of the non-televised spring season featuring men's and women's lacrosse, baseball, softball, men's volleyball, beach volleyball, and tennis. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to BigTenPlus.com to subscribe and make sure you enter SPRING Spring 4 FOUR when selecting a monthly pass at checkout to take advantage of this offer. Michigan with a season high on the horse now is in first place.
And that is a great sign for them. They have not gone to vault yet, which is the highest scoring event, but they've got pommel horse behind them, which is one of the lowest scoring events. So that is phenomenal for them. And look at Aronson Mansberger, 14.7. That is up there with the Brandon Dangs and Parker Thaxtons of the world, which we will see later on today. That's a huge number.
Season high.
Well deserved. Fred Richard, 14.1 as well. Some big numbers there for the Wolverines. Over on the rings, Penn State. Kellen Ryan only at 12.9, but Ian Robble, 14.05. Big numbers there for the Nittany Lions.
Take a look at the Illini vault scores.
As we mentioned, the highest scoring event in men's gymnastics. Garrett Shuley with a 14-7. That triple full vault. That's one of the most difficult vaults we'll see all night. He executed it so well, and he got rewarded for it.
P-Bars, Ohio State.
And David Ramirez, a 13-6-5. We saw him with that incredible dismount, one of the few in the world that can do it.
And our last one of the second rotation, the Cornhuskers on the high bar.
Some low scores there for Nebraska. Yanni Chronopoulos in the 11s and Cole Partridge in the 12s. That's not what they needed on that event.
So Nebraska, third in the country on the floor. They'll be on the left side of your 2 box. Fred Richard actually has taken a slim lead on Paul Judah in the all-around. Akshay Puri coming off a 13-8, which is his season high. Nathan York coming off a 13-6, career high 13-9 on the floor for the Cornhuskers. Again, Nebraska third in the country on the floor. Michigan fifth in the country on the rings.
And that pass there for Nathan, that front double. Saw him skip his feet just a little bit on the landing. It's worth noting these guys are on a podium, so all the apparatus is raised up off the floor, and it does change the bounce of vault and floor in a noticeable way. Over on the right, though, Akshay Puri. Some of these strength positions are just so good in terms of the level that he holds them at. There's the inverted cross, so difficult. Little arch in the back. He's got to be careful there. Akshay on the right. Big double layout. Hop on the landing, but a strong start for the Wolverines. With most programs, I would say, don't put somebody that early in lineup who has that perfect of positions, but Michigan's lineup has so much depth that they don't even have to worry about that.
The 2 box rolls on as we move to Illinois on the P-bars and Ohio State on the high bar. Ohio State 6th in the country on the high bar. Illinois 8th in the country on the parallel bars. Illinois will lead off with Dylan Shepard coming off a 13-1. Parker Thaxton coming off a 13-2-5 with a career high of 13-8-5.
And that's tough from Dylan Shepard on the left, that Hanma to a handstand. He does that on the end of the bars, right where those uprights are, so there's no bending in the bars, which makes it even more difficult than it already is. Baxton on the right, you saw that half talk, a little bit flat from handstand where he needs it to be. Oh! And does not quite catch the Tkachev. It's a 1-point deduction. Over on P-bars on the left. Cool dismount over here for the Illini. Double pike off the end of the bars, and he sticks it. Green flag goes up, bonus 10th applied. Nice way to kick things off over there for the Illini.
Parker Thaxton back up on the high bar.
He does repeat the skill, so he will get credit for it. So his difficulty value will not be lower, just the 1 point for the fall.
Penn State getting ready, Matt Underhill.
On the right, Parker Thaxton for the Buckeyes. Just the dismount, full twisting double layout, hop on the landing. The pressure is on for the rest of this Buckeye lineup after that fall. Again, 4 up, 4 counts. You do not drop any scores. Every 10th counts.
Underhill out of the state of Wisconsin.
And that's our first stuck vault of the night. If I'm not mistaken, Dean, that is about as good as you can do it. Kazumatsu with 2.5 twists, opens up nice and early, keeps his head behind him so he can look at the floor and watch the landing. Textbook technique on that vault. That'll be a huge number for the Nittany Lions.
Crushed it, Matt Underhill. We'll see if he tops his career high of 14-2. Rithik Puri, the brother to Akshay, his last two meets have been 13-8, and he set his career high of 14 2 meets ago.
He is phenomenal at this event. Back uprise Maltese, again, perfectly level. They should be exactly parallel with the floor when they're in those positions. That one as well, uprise straight planche. And lowering into the Maltese makes it so much more difficult. You don't get a break there. You have to control that movement the entire time.
Got another career high to report. Dylan Shepard with a 14.05 on the P-bars for Illinois. Matt Underhill also with a career high, 14.45. Career highs everywhere here at the Chrysler Center.
I have a feeling we'll get to see Underhill in the vault finals tomorrow after that performance too. On the right, just the dismount for Michigan. Double twisting, double back. Another stuck landing. These guys want it, Dean.
Luke James on the left of the two box.
There's the dismount left. Full twisting double back. Hop on the landing. That was a little bit more hoppy, I would say, than I'm used to seeing from Luke James there. It's worth noting, he actually broke his finger last week, and he's still competing floor and vault anyway. They just taped it together and brought him out there.
Noah Copeland, second to go for the Buckeyes on the high bar. Matthew Wynn, second to go for the Illini. He is 23rd in the country.
High bar on the right side of the two box. That right there, top half, needs to go directly to a handstand. Judges are very strict on the angle deductions there. You lose at least 3/10 for being short of the handstand, but here's the big release. Coleman, full twisting double back. Perfect form. Here's another one, Kovacs, gorgeous. Over on P-bars, little struggle there. Oh, and elbow just buckles. I don't know how he stayed on the bars. Wynn looks a little tired. He's got to get this double front to his feet. And to his feet, he gets it. Nice recovery there from Wynn, but back on the right, here's that release move. Big time work on the left. Watch the elbow, left side, just collapses underneath him. Great presence of mind just to keep that thing on the bar.
Copeland was so close to a stuck landing. As we move back to Penn State, Matt Cormier, 14.35 career high. Chase Mondi ready to go for Nebraska.
On the right, Matt Cormier has some of the best form you'll ever see on this vault. 2.5 twist. Another stuck vault for the Nittany Lions. He put up the number. That's 2. 2 sticks for Penn State. This is shaping up to be a massive vault rotation for the Nittany Lions.
Brandon, way off the table, great amplitude and stuck landings. It's going to be hard to deduct with that kind of performance.
It really doesn't get much better than that.
Paul Judah, 9th in the country. His last 2 meets, 13.9. He does have a career high on the rings of 14.25.
And that vault was so dynamic. I don't want to ignore Chase Mondi's floor routine here as he finishes up. Double twisting, double back. He's got one more pass, but he did a triple twisting double back earlier in that routine, as well as a double layout with a full twist. So massive difficulty over on the floor for the Cornhuskers. Meanwhile, the Olympian, Paul Judah, Yamawaki right into the handstand. We mentioned that. Extra bonus points for doing that exact combination this year. Chase Mondi, stuck dismount on floor. I'll tell you what, Dean, we saw some mistakes earlier on in the last couple rotations, but these guys are starting to look like they want to win a Big Ten championship.
Mondi's 3rd in the country for a reason.
Nails the dismount, no hesitation. Beautifully done. But over on rings, the Olympian says not so fast. I can stick a couple dismounts my own.
Paul Judah knows how to work the crowd as Ian Sandoval getting set for the Illini. By the way, Penn State back-to-back career highs.
Paul Judah, certainly can't accuse him of being shy in front of the home crowd, can you?
No, he actually, we could put a mic on him and, I mean, you're the best, but he could do your job while he's out there doing all of this.
He could steal my, I appreciate the compliment, but he could steal my job tonight if he wanted to. He's that good. An incredible high bar work over here from Christian Grahovsky. That's called a Wallstrom. Almost never see that skill. So difficult, and actually upgraded in the most recent code as well, so he'll get rewarded on that one. Great release work here for the Buckeyes. Clean routine thus far, too. He's got big difficulty, but he's not giving anything away on execution. Meanwhile, Sandoval for the Illini, just the double front half out, nails the dismount. That's another stuck landing on high bar. Tug, double twisting, double back. Don't see those too often. Small hop on the landing there. This is shaping up to be a very high-scoring rotation for all of these teams. Check out Sandoval here. He does the double front dismount, adds the half out at the end. Judges will take a deduction for his chest being a little bit low, too close to his knees there, but again, when you get the stick, you avoid deductions for steps and hops, and you get the stick bonus.
All right, Landon Simpson has to follow up 2 career highs. Underhill with a 14.45 and Cormier with a 14.45.
We've seen 2 vaults, we've seen 2 sticks. Can we get another? Not quite. Takes a big step out of bounds there, a little too much power, but not the end of the world. That's still a good vault. It was still clean in the air, and it'll still score well. Step with the left foot. That's 3/10 on the step. 1/10 for being over the line. You see the yellow flag go up there. That indicates that the line judge has said that he went out.
Battle of the all-arounders. Taylor Kostopoulos on the left for Nebraska. Fred Richard on the right for Michigan. Michigan on the rings. Kostopoulos on the floor. Richard 16th in the country. His last 2 meets a 14.3, and then at the World Cup he had a 13.45, a rare low score for Fred.
And he's gotten a lot stronger in the last couple of months. Rings, I would say, used to be his weakness, but these days, quite a bit better. There's that sequence again. Oh, and he struggles in the handstand. Has to use a ton of strength to not fall out of the handstand, and he's exhausted now after that. You see the swing in the rings. Big dismount, double twisting, double layout. Pretty nice, but a little sloppy compared to what he's capable of. He'll survive that rotation, but not his best. Kostopoulos on floor. Nice combination work down the side. That's a lot of gymnastics to do. But then over there on rings on the right side of your screen, you see that fight for the handstand. That's so tiring. You're working the entire time. You get no breaks on still rings. Kostopoulos with a nice finish to his floor routine there. I expect that floor routine to outscore Fred's rings routine, so we'll see how that plays out in the all-around standings thus far.
Paul Judah back in front of Fred Richard. Sandoval, by the way, with a career high 13.75.
Big release coming up here for Andrews. Oh, just missed his left hand on the bar. And I love the way that he does that Coleman. It's almost casual. He doesn't bend the bar or tap quite as hard as a lot of other athletes do. It makes it look so easy, but unfortunately just a little too close to the bar, and that left hand just does not get where it needs to go. 1 point deduction for Ohio State.
Back-to-back falls for Andrews, who lit up the Big Ten Network screen in Columbus. Will Hauk. Talked to Will beforehand, and they had changed his pronunciation, and he said, no, it's Hauk. You had it right all along.
They tried to trick us, Dean. Will with a nice double pike, takes a couple hops backwards. But a clean routine from him. Illini chugging along over there on V-bars. Meanwhile, high bar, half in, half out layout, gets the stick. Does Drake Andrews. Green flag goes up. That'll redeem a couple of points after that fall, but the Buckeyes need to be careful after a few mistakes in this rotation.
Last vault for Penn State, Michael Giroux. He won the high bar last year, the Big Ten Championships in Illinois.
Giroux has had a challenging career, battled so many injuries throughout his career, but he can be exceptional on this event. He's just got to put it to his feet. And too much power. 2 big steps out, also goes out of bounds there. That'll bring that score down. But massive amplitude in the air, just launches himself off that vault table. He looks like he could add an extra half twist to that.
Chase Mondi with a big move on the floor for Nebraska, and Penn State setting new career highs, including Matt Cormier on the ball. Live coverage of the 2025 Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Championship continues tomorrow at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, with the individual championships. That's only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Michigan fans always out for men's gymnastics and women's gymnastics. Great fans in Ann Arbor, and they travel well. They have the Chrysler Center set up perfectly for the Big Ten men's gymnastics. Let's talk all-around story here. It's tight between the 2 Wolverine superstars.
Only about 4/10 separating Paul Judah and Fred Richard, but what I'm looking at, Dean, is the fact that those other 3, Fred Richard, Taylor Christopoulos, Ian Sandoval, it's only about a half a point between those guys. It is anybody's race from this point forward.
So you see Judah and Richard. That's part of the reason why Michigan is in the lead with a 163.8. Illinois in second, followed by Penn State, Nebraska, and the Buckeyes.
These vaults look similar to handsprings, but the athlete completes a quarter turn before contact with the table, creating a sideways entry rather than the handsprings straight forward.
8 individual career highs tonight. I do feel like I've been handing them out like Oprah Winfrey a little bit, and we're going to have more. I think we're going to have more, aren't we?
I think you're right. The Big Ten Championships is such a special environment, and again, if you're going to peak, this is the right time to do it. Here's a look at last rotation. Nebraska on the floor. Chase Mondi, 14-2 with major difficulty. Some big skills in that routine. A good rotation for Nebraska.
Take a look at the ring scores for Michigan.
No surprise there. The Olympian Paul Judah, 13-7-5, leading that rotation for the Wolverines. Good scores for them. Not anything exceptional, nothing in the 14s, but steady all the way through.
2 of those 8 career highs that we just talked about, 1 and 2, Underhill and Cormier.
Well, talking about exceptional, 14-4-5 times 2 in that vault lineup there. Unfortunately, they didn't capitalize on that as much as they could have, with a couple of smaller mistakes later on in the lineup.
This is Illini on the P-bars.
Look at their leadoff, Dylan Shepard with a 14-05. That's a huge number on that event. We said that their scores would go up as the meet goes on. That bodes well for the Illini. Ohio State on the high bar. Couple big mistakes here. You see 2 scores in the 12s and 1 in the 11s. That is not what Ohio State needed. They've got some work to do, and they might need another team to open up the door a little bit if they want to stay in it.
Kurt Golder, the longtime head coach of the Michigan gymnastics program. And for me, he is more than just a coach. He is a true ambassador, and he also is a unifier. He connects the alumni forever.
He does. He is an absolute legend of Michigan men's gymnastics. Dean, I shared with you earlier that he never stops coaching. You see it there, 4-time NCAA champion, 137 All-Americans, 17 individual national champions, not to mention a few Olympians. But Dean, he calls me after every single broadcast and says, hey, Brandon, great job. You did phenomenal, but I've got a couple pointers I think you could make it even better.
How cool is that?
Coaches never stop coaching.
You know, I see him and I go back to, the agony of COVID, because he was bringing everybody back and then had to cancel these plans that were so ambitious that I feel like he spent a year on as we get ready to get to the fourth rotation. Ohio State will start on the floor, Jesse Pikelli. Nebraska will start on the horse with Yanni Chronopoulos.
And he had to sneak that double pike around, Jesse Pikelli that is, on the left side of your screen. Bent his legs and tucked that second flip just a little bit. Will be a deduction, but not the end of the world, but he's got to stay clean from here on out.
Pikelli, 14:05 in his last meet on the Big Ten Network.
Chronopoulos on horse for Nebraska. They had a great floor rotation. Can they keep it going? It looks like they can. Yanni Chronopoulos getting things started on the right note on pommel horse for the Cornhuskers. Another look at that dismount there. Flies right up to the handstand, no hesitation. It's exactly what the judges want to see. Just the dismount for Pikelli, and he gets a stick to kick things off for the Buckeyes on floor. Here it is again. It's a full twisting double back. There's one flip, one twist. Two flips, one twist rather. Gets the stick. That'll be a big number for the Buckeyes.
Matthew Wynn, the high bar for Illinois with a career high of 13.4.
Big Tkachev coming up in the layout position. Done well. You want to make sure that the hips stay completely open in those layout Tkachevs with no bend or pike.
Brandon, with the high bar right in front of us, I'm reminded of Justin Spring. He was brilliant at this, and his initial years coaching, they were brilliant at the high bar.
Well, it's funny to see how the culture of the coach translates to the athletes. When Justin Spring was coaching, Illinois was very much a high bar team. Right now with Dan Ribeiro, they're very much a horse team, and unfortunately puts his hands down at the end there because he put weight on his hands that will count as a 1-point fall.
Justin Spring, another Olympian, as you see Casper on the P-bars for Penn State.
Oh, and that was a good fight on the left side of your screen there from Gunzarek, and he gets the stick on the dismount too. He almost came off the P-bars. He was very off to the side on one of those skills, manages to save it and then get the stick right after. Nice work.
Solon Chiotti, his last two meets, 14-1 and 14-4-5. The 14-4-5, a career and season high for the Wolverine.
This is a big rotation for Michigan. Highest scoring event. They need to capitalize. Nice, 2.5. Great form, just the small hop. They don't need to be exceptional here, Dean. They just need to do their jobs and get through it with minimal deductions. And this is a great example of exactly that. Probably a 1/10 leg separation at the beginning and only a 1/10 hop at the end. Nicely done for the Wolverines.
Back to the floor for Ohio State. Noah Copeland coming off a 13-4. And Travis Wong coming off a 12.85 down from his career high of a 13.45.
Open on the left. Big opening pass, double twisting, double back. Nice landing too. Floor exercise is all about the landings. That's where most of your deductions are encouraged. So if you can stick, and right as I say it, they'll scramble after that double front.
Wong just saw Chronopoulos with his lowest score of the season, so he needs a big score.
I'm a little surprised by Chronopoulos' score
over on Pommel Horse. Wong, pretty solid routine. Again, Pommel Horse is the great equalizer. Nobody really wants to go there, but everybody has to. It's a low-scoring event. It's a high-pressure event. You just got to get through it, and hopefully you go 4 for 4 and hit those routines. Copeland on the floor. Nice combination work there. He's got to be careful about those landings. You have to show control. If the judge says you didn't control that landing before transitioning into the corner, they'll take a deduction. Nice dismount, double pike, 310 step on the landing. But a good way to open things up for the Buckeyes there.
Low scores on the high bar for Illinois. Preston Nye needs a big one. Matt Cormier ready to go for Penn State.
Nye's got some big gymnastics on the right side of your screen. Coming up right here. Cassina, it does not catch the bar. It's a full twisting double layout over a steel bar that is 9 feet in the air. Not easy stuff. Then on the left side of your screen for the Nittany Lions, Matt Cormier working through that routine nicely. Nye just a little bit too close on that Cassina. Couldn't quite get enough distance between himself and the bar to effectively swing out of that. Got another big release right here though. Coleman, same idea but tucked, and he was close on that one too. He was able to manage it. He could really use a stick after that mistake, and he gets it. Not what they were looking for, but redeems himself a bit on the dismount, gets a couple tenths back there, and in a competition like this, every little thing counts.
Highest score on the high bar tonight is a 13-6 for Christian Brahovsky and Ohio State. Michigan back on the floor.
David Wolma, capable of doing a triple twist. Does not do it, but he does a 2.5, about as good as you possibly can. Took out the extra half twist, opted for slightly less difficulty. But Dean, you can't do that ball any better than that.
That was beautiful.
Here's what the judges see. Find me a deduction. Maybe a 10th on the feet in the air. If you want to be really picky, maybe a 10th right there during pre-flight. That should be a 14-6 score.
I think you're right. I mean, you talked about getting beyond the table and having that amplitude and then sticking the landing. Again, he had all 3.
I would not be surprised, Dean, if that's our 9th career high of the evening.
David Ramirez for the Buckeyes. And for Nebraska on the Pommel Horse, Nathan York.
Nice opening pass there from Ramirez. Front layout into a double front. Does his scale now. As a reminder, that is a new requirement with the updated rules this year. Every athlete has to do a balance on 1 foot during their full routine. Nice full spin there from York on Pommel Horse on the right side of your screen. It's a tough skill, 360 degrees on one arm. If you lean over just a little too far in any direction, there is no saving it.
York had a 13-9 in his last meet, just shy of his career high. By the way, you said it, Cormier with a career high on parallel bar, 14.05. Tonight, 14, he almost got one. Oprah said no on that one.
Not quite. Oh, and that's a mistake from Ramirez there. That's the same issue that Fred Richard had on his handstand. You saw his hips reverse direction. He was going up to the handstand, went down just a little, and back up. That should be 5/10 deduction and no credit. Nice double pike dismount there. Manages it well. We'll see how the judges handle that. That could be a big deduction. High bar for the Illini. Here's Sandoval, our all-arounder.
Ian Rauble on the left for Penn State. Sandoval, the youngster.
And Those are tough right there, called German Giants. Brutal on the shoulders. Ian makes it look a little too easy. Just the dismount here, full twisting double layout, small hop on the landing, but solid routine for the young man from the Illini.
The baby face, number 10.
Here's that dismount. Unique technique on that dismount, really weights and exaggerates that full twist. Makes it look pretty nice. Over on parallel bars, it's another stuck double front. Penn State wants to win a championship tonight.
Fred Richard, 14-3. He set his career high. However, prior to that, at the Winter Cup, a 12.65.
And Fred can do about 3 different vaults. You never really know what you're gonna get. I imagine he'll do the Kazumatsu style that we've seen from his teammates thus far. He's capable of big numbers here. It is the Kazumatsu. Just a tiny little hop, but my goodness, the form in the air, just so clean.
Different level of clean.
Nice and tight in the air. There's just not much you can take on that vault, Dean. And remember, we've been saying it all night, vault is the highest scoring event in men's gymnastics. When you capitalize here, you can really pull away.
Number 1 in the country on your left, Cameron Nelson, ready to go. 14.5 in his last meet, just shy of his career high of a 14.6. Taylor Christopoulos getting ready to get on the horse. He's 14th in the country, 13.6 his last meet, career high 14.2.
And that was a little spooky, Dean, on the left side of your screen. You mentioned it, number 1 in the country, Cameron Nelson. That was a triple back that he opened up with, just a little bit short. If I had done that, my ankles would have broken on sight. But Cameron just works through it like it's nothing. Unfortunately, will still be a fall, 1 point.
Fred Richard with a 14.1. It's the 10th 14.0 or better tonight. We still have a lot of gymnastics left. Ian Raubel with a career high on the P-bars for Penn State with a 14.6.
Well, Dean, when we spoke to coaches before the meet, and there's another mistake on the left from Cameron Nelson, manages to stay on his feet, but not what you want to see. That deep squat, judges can take up to 5/10 there. But when we spoke to all the coaches, almost everyone said, listen, whoever is the most consistent and sticks the most landings, that's probably who's going to win tonight. And most of these career highs have coincidentally come with stuck dismounts.
And Sternoff coming off a 13.65. Josh Carnes on the left for Penn State, 2nd in the country with a 14.6 career high. When Carnes is on, it is something special.
Well, remember, he is your defending Big Ten champion on this event. He is world class. Showing why he is so good at that event. Seamlessly working his way through that routine. Probably not quite what he's capable of. A couple small form breaks here and there. But overall, good stuff on the P-bars for the Nittany Lions. That's going to be a big team total for them.
Penn State has set 4 career highs in their last 3 rotations. Raubel with 2, Cormier and Underhill. Paul Judah trying to chase down his teammate for the all-around title. Buckle in for Mr. Judah.
Paul is a former NCAA champion on this event. When he won it at NC's, he stuck it. Let's see if he can do it again tonight. Almost. But Dean, when we talk about perfect form, I don't think it gets better than that. They'll take a 10th on the hop on the landing, but other than that, there's just nothing to take. Feet glued together there, maybe a 1/10 separation in pre-flight, but it doesn't get any better than that. It's a 14.8 start value. It should be a 14.6 score. It is in full speed. This is the way the judges view it. I don't even see the 1/10 leg separation in real time.
Guess what? He's your new all-around leader with a 55.5. Fred Richard at 54.85. What a show from Penn State. Ian Robo with 2 career highs, including that performance, and then Woma getting it done for Michigan. Rotation 5 next. Mark it down, July 12th. The BTN Big 10K returns to Soldier Field in Chicago. Scan the QR code or register right now at btnbig10k.com to be a part of the 10K or 5K race and post-race tailgate party. It is time to look at the leaderboards. We'll start with the all-around story. The 2 Wolverines, back and forth they go.
And you see those 2 Michigan guys pulling away just a little bit. Taylor and Ian fighting for that last spot on the podium there. It's still anybody's race at this point. We have 2 rotations left, a lot of gymnastics left to go.
Michigan with a 57.15 on the vault. And look at Michigan in the all-around story. Shane Wiskus snuck in there. Other than that, it's been all Wolverines.
And spoke to Coach Shao yesterday about this, actually. He said that at Michigan, they've always had a culture of emphasizing strong all-around competitors. It's gotten more difficult with 4-up, 4-count format. You see more specialists, more people doing 2, 3, 4 events. But Michigan, with that all-around culture, and it shows.
And then Michigan as a team, they're 57.15 on the vault, their highest score tonight. All 4, 14-1 or better.
That's exactly what you want to see on a vault rotation. You have an opportunity on that event to really separate yourself, and they did exactly that.
Nice atmosphere, as always, here at the Chrysler Center as we get ready for rotation number 5, where Illinois, Petrosian with a 13.8 career high. Illinois, by the way, 5th in the country on the floor. Ohio State, 3rd in the country on the horse. Christian Grahofsky on the right for the Buckeyes.
And Petrosian on the left for the Illini. Coach Ribeiro said floor is a good event for them. Not their best, but good. They've been putting a lot of attention into sticking landings. Nice flare work there from Vahe. Each athlete is required to do at least 1 non-acrobatic skill on floor. A little bit of a struggle on the right there from Christian Grahofsky. Made it look pretty good, but he slowed down those circles quite a bit. Well managed, though. On the right, triple Russian dismount. Done pretty well. You see him just swinging a little bit slow there. Part of that's our slow motion from our camera crew, but part of that is he just lost a little bit of momentum there.
Zarek with the intensity. 23rd in the country. First to go on the high bar. Penn State, by the way, coming off the P-bars where they had a 55.85, their highest point total tonight.
They had a fantastic rotation on that event. So many stuck landings. Over here on parallel bars now, left-hand side of your screen, Evgeny Simonik. And on any other team, Dean, he would be your anchor. He's that good. Just flies up to the handstand in those peach elements. And watch this right here. Launches himself into the air all the way from one end of the bars to the other. Just beautiful work from Evgeny.
Yeah, Evgeny, the 22 champ, and last year finished 2nd on the P-bars behind True Bold for Michigan.
He's gone back and forth with a couple of different dismounts this season. He'll do the upgraded one, double front. Nicely done, small hop, but that's a big start value. Lots of difficulty and great execution there for the Wolverines. That's going to be a big number to kick things off for them. Full twisting double layout, just the slightest little hop there on the high bar, but over on P-bars, Evgeny, double front. It's a tough dismount. It's called a blind landing. You don't see the ground until you're almost on it. He manages it very well.
Evgeny's last two meets was 13.85 and a 13.55. We move back to the rings and the Cornhuskers. They are #1 in the country on the rings. Time for Nebraska to make a move.
James has always had really good swing elements on this event. His strength, not as much of a strong suit, but you wouldn't know it from looking at those opening two skills. He got a lot better about holding those, but that's what he does so well. Just effortlessly flies up to the handstand during those swing elements. Just the dismount left, double-double. Small slide back on the dismount. That's a good way to get things started on the rings for Nebraska. Called a straight planche, holding your body parallel to the floor above the rings. Then he lowers down to that Maltese. That is tough anti-gravity work. There's the double-double. Interesting technique. Really speeds up the twist on the second half of the skill.
Back to floor and pommel we go on the two box. Amari Sewell for the Illini, 23rd in the country. Connor Simpkins for the Buckeyes. His last meet, 12.55. Capable of better, though. Career high of 13.6.
Head coach Rustam Sharipov of the Buckeyes was very complimentary of Conlon. Simpkins said he's so selfless, always puts the team first, and that's a nice skill. Full spin on one arm there. Great pommel worker, young guy, but tons of potential on this event. Conlon, just the dismount. Oh, and I think I jinxed him. It was so clean right until the end, just not enough gas to do the handstand dismount. With the changes in the code, if you want to be competitive, you almost have to do one of those handstand style dismounts these days. Conlon, unfortunately, just not enough oomph to get it done. Amari Sewell, left hand side of your screen, double pike, major air, small hop. But a nice routine to get things going on the floor exercise. On the left for the Illini, double twisting, double back. Has so much air that he kicked out of it pretty nicely. Manages to stay in bounds there, even though he's skirting pretty close to the edge.
Sewell now has a coach that won the floor last year. Connor McCool, part of the coaching staff with Coach Ribeiro, as Fred Richard ready to go on the P-bars. Fred Richard, 14.95 and then a 14.1. The 14.95 is a new career high that he just set, so he comes in ready to roll on the P-bars for the Wolverines.
And he has some major difficulty both on this event and the next one, high bar. But starting right there, front uprise to a Stutz handstand. A lot of guys do the Stutz from a support swing. Very few do it from the front uprise. Makes it exponentially more difficult. Over on high bar, double-double. Gets the stick, Penn State. I think has had the best landings, and right as I say it, Fred Richard stuck his landing on the P-bars. Here's Cormier for the Nittany Lions. 2 flips, 2 twists, massive amplitude, and just nails the landing. He'll get the stick bonus. Meanwhile, at the exact same time, Fred Richard on P-bar said, I can do that too.
Give it to him. What kind of deduction for the arm swirl?
Arm circle is going to be a 1/10 deduction. They could also deduct him for having his chest low. They want to see you land pretty upright on those landings.
All right, Nebraska has Asher Cohen, 11th in the conference, capable of big scores with a career high of 14.45.
And he's got a tough strength sequence that he opens up with. Back uprise planche all the way above the rings, lowers down to the Maltese. He has to control that all the way down, and right here, bounce cross, that's called a Nakayama. 9 seconds straight of non-stop strength. That is tough. Nice swing skills there. Little bit of a swing in the rings. You have to bail at the right time, and he does, meaning when you fall down from that handstand, if you time it right, you can eliminate the swing. Does a great job of it there. Just the dismount, double-double. Small hop. That'll be a big score for the Cornhuskers. Big-time strength. Big amplitude here. 2 flips, 2 twists. Nicely done. And you are so tired at the end of a routine like that. Cohen makes it look easy.
I want to let you know that Matt Cormier with a career high 13.45 on the high bar. Penn State has 5 of the 10 career highs tonight. As we move back to the 2 box, Illinois on the left, the Buckeyes on the right. Ian Sandoval for the Illini, David Ramirez for Ohio State.
Sandoval with a nice double pike to open things up, just barely. That slight adjustment with his feet. He's got some big tumbling. There's the double-double. Big step on that one. He's got to control those landings a little bit better. Meanwhile, Ramirez working his way through this horse routine. Looks a little bit muscled. You want to see the athletes swing freely, and right there is a big break. I don't believe they will give him credit for that dismount, so he will have to repeat that, and it will count as a 1-point fall. And Sandoval at the same time has a break right there. That was supposed to be a punch front layout. Has a little misstep there. Has to end up doing a front tuck instead. He'll be down on start value because of that. Ramirez. Did repeat his dismount, went well that time, but again, that's still a full-point fall.
On the right, you'll see Akseli Karsikis, who just saw Matt Cormier set another career high. However, I do want to ask you, there's only been 4 scores over 13-0 tonight, 5 actually on the high bar.
Well, high bar is a tough event to score high on because there's so many places to take deductions. You've got your normal form deductions like knees, legs apart, etc. But the angles are where the judges get you on this event. Everything has to finish in a handstand, and if it is even a little bit off, they're going to put pen to paper. But I'll tell you, Dean, Karsikis is one of my favorite athletes to watch on this event because he's so aggressive. He does not hold back, and you see it right here with these release moves.
Paul Judah, his last 2 meets on the P-bar is a 14.1, which is a career high, and a 13.65.
He has such good lines on this event. Paul Judah does. Left-hand side of your screen. Big flight element here. Front 1 1/4. Oh, but on high bar, we get another stick. Dean, you mentioned Penn State has so many career highs. The reason they have those is because they are sticking landings. I can't overstate the importance of that enough.
Penn State's having a great meet. Unfortunately, they're taking on Michigan, as Michigan is looking to lap the competition with the exception of Penn State.
Well, Michigan just has such high levels of difficulty. Double front here from Paul Judah. Small hop. But when your difficulty is that high, your maximum possible score is so much higher. It gives you a little bit of room for error. You don't have to be perfect. Here's that dismount, double front, leg separation. Judges will take deduction for that.
And then this is what Brandon Burns does before we go on the air. Watch this.
I think Paul does it a little better than I do.
Yanni Chronopoulos, 6th in the country, coming off of 14, career high 14.25. Again, reminding you, Nebraska, the best in the country on the rings.
And this is some serious strength right here. That's called an Azarian to Maltese. Anti-gravity, goes from underneath the rings, presses himself up. That's big time. Nice cross there. Such confidence in those static strength holds. Some guys you see start to sink a little bit. They might have a little shake. Not the case for Yanni Chronopoulos. This has been great so far. Just the dismount, double-double. And he sticks the dismount. That'll be a huge number for the Cornhuskers. Giant through, double-double, launches himself off the rings, just gets so much amplitude.
Schooley getting set for the Illini, the anchor for Illinois, 5th in the country on the floor. Parker Thaxton, the anchor for the Buckeyes, on the horse. Thaxton finished 2nd last year at Illinois.
Thaxton, one of the best pommel horse workers in the entire country. Schooley on the left, could say the same for him on floor. Big double twisting, double layout. And Thaxton, those one-arm spins, so difficult. Right there, that is a triple Russian on one pommel. Unbelievably difficult. There's just no room for error when both hands are on one pommel like that. Unbelievably nuanced work there from Thaxton. Over on the floor exercise, Garrett Schooley doing a skill called a Fedorchenko. Looks a lot like what you'd usually see on the pommel horse. Thaxton just finished that routine up. That's gonna be a big number. Absolutely massive difficulty on that, and he performed it very, very well. Garrett with the double pike, and he gets the stick. Green flag goes up. I don't remember the last time I've seen this many stuck dismounts at a Big Ten Championships.
Thaxton showing a lot of emotion, and Schooley with the green flag stuck landing. Josh Carnes ready to go. By the way, Penn State has tied the 2 best scores tonight on the high bar with 13-6 and 13-4-5. Josh Carnes, fun to watch.
Josh Carnes is one of the most unique skills coming up right here. Double front half out over the bar. He'll do another big release. That was the Coleman. No. Looks like that first one was supposed to be a Casina or a layout, because he did another one, tugs. Unfortunately, takes a fall there. Logan McEwen on the left side, though. Really unique parallel bar work there. Hard hit on the right for Josh Carnes. Very unique skill there from Josh Carnes on the right side of your screen. Don't see those too often. Again, it was upgraded this year in the new code, but Logan McEwen. Dean, I'll tell you, this Michigan parallel bar lineup is world class.
Well done by Logan McEwen. See Michigan there. Fred Richard has closed the gap in the all-around race.
Nice stuck dismount there from Josh Carnes. Unfortunate fall earlier on in the routine. That stuck dismount will help him get a few tenths back.
As you see Nebraska getting ready, we can tell you that Yanni Karopoulos tied his best score in the rings with a 14.05, and Asher Cohen is number 3 tonight with a 14. So the number 1 team in the country delivering the goods for the Cornhuskers on the rings, Brandon.
Chris Heiser, one of the cleanest rings routines you'll ever see. We mentioned that in the open. His strength is just so perfect, and that is so difficult right there. He has a swing in the rings which changes the balance point the entire time during that strength skill. You have to adjust the whole time when that happens, and he made it look effortless.
Quick update, Thaxton with that emotion, number 2 best score on the horse with a 14.5.
Chris with some more swing in the rings here. Needs to time this correctly. Double-double, small hop back, but very nice strength work from Chris Heiser there. That'll still score very well.
Chuck Chimelka, 3-time national champion as a gymnast at Nebraska. His wife was a big-time gymnast at Nebraska as well. I see Christopoulos. So I talked to him in the hallway, and it was a special moment because he said, you know what? I'm really going to try to soak in every moment because I know this is my last Big Tens. And then he added, and that includes tomorrow night too. You got to remind everybody about tomorrow night.
Absolutely. Tomorrow night is so much fun. Tonight, of course, we're crowning the all-around champion. You see the stats on the left right there. Paul and Fred neck and neck. We'll also crown the team champion tonight. But tomorrow, it's all about the individual. These guys will battle it out for a chance at the individual event title. And we can always expect to see some upgraded routines on night 2 as well. 6 events, Olympic order. 10 gymnasts from tonight will qualify for each event, and athletes can also qualify for multiple events. I'm sure we'll see some of our all-arounders, including guys like Christopoulos, picking and choosing which events they want to perform tomorrow night to maximize their chances of taking home an event title.
Yeah, remember last year, as we see Chronopoulos talking about taking in the moment tonight and the next night. Remember, Fred Richards sat out a couple and joined us for quite a bit of the event.
That's right. He started his broadcast career with us right here on BTN. Nice crosses there. Beautiful shoot to a handstand. No movement in the rings whatsoever. It's exactly what you want to see. Oh, and I jinxed him a little bit. Picked up a little swing on that back price handstand. Not a big deal. Handled it nicely. Big double-double and a stuck dismount. Very nice. Big airtime on that double-double as well. Generates so much power. Look at the force of those swings. Judges will take some deductions for having his chest down, but a big smile for the stick.
What a night here in Ann Arbor, Chrysler Center. Big-time performances from big-time gymnasts. Parker Thaxton with a new career high. We'll be ready to 6th rotation when we return. The Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Championships, the team title and the all-around title on the line tonight. 6 event titles on the line tomorrow night. That'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 o'clock Pacific Time. Rotation 6 of 6, and you see the scores. Michigan with the lead, but like I said, if Michigan wasn't here, Penn State has had a solid night.
Penn State has had the best competition that I've seen them have all season long. We've mentioned multiple career highs, multiple stuck dismounts. They've been incredibly consistent the whole way through.
5 of the 10 career highs belong to the Nittany Lions. and we're hearing the "We Are" chant. So with the "We Are" chant, we'll show you the lineup for Penn State on the floor.
This is a strong lineup for them, too. Michael Artlip, Coach Jepson described as a sticking machine on this event, so watch out for a big score from him there in that leadoff position. And Carnes, I keep saying it, he's known as a P-bar guy, but he can do it all. The Illini on the pommel horse. This is their best event, especially Brandon Dang, one of the best in the world, undefeated so far this season. That'll be a big routine.
Take a look at the lineups for the Buckeyes on the rings.
See Tyler Rockwood there, the senior, in the anchor spot. Coach Sheripov said he is our standout on that event. Quite frequently scores into the 14, so look for some big numbers there.
The Huskers on the vault.
They could make a little resurgence here. They might be able to leapfrog Penn State. You never know. Vault, high-scoring event. They've got some big gymnastics here, too, with Chase Mondi and Christopoulos.
Last but not least, the home team, your host, the Michigan Wolverines, on the high bar. First in the country, including Fred Richard, who's #1, and Judah, who's #8.
Fantastic event for the Wolverines. This Wolverine team is really a second-half team. They're great at everything, but if I had to say which events are they best at, it's probably P-bars and high bars, so look for them to end the meet on a big note here.
Michigan trying to make it 5 in a row as Kurt Golder passed over the reins to Coach Shao, and all Coach Shao has done is win it every time.
Win, win, win. And Coach Shao mentioned that this is, of course, the last year that they'll have 2 Olympians on the team and quite a few seniors as well. So this is Michigan's year, obviously here in the Big Ten, but perhaps nationally as well.
The 2-box, Penn State, 6th in the country on the floor. We'll start with Michael Artlip, who's coming off a 13-7 in his last meet. And Illinois on the pommel horse, Max Barkadu with a 14.25 career high. They're #1 in the country. Illinois is on the horse.
We talked about Coach Dan Rivero earlier. He is the epitome of a pommel horse guy, one of the best back in his day. And that certainly translates into his coaching ability as well. This Illini team, so strong on that event. Nice travel work there, all the way down the horse from Max. Meanwhile, Artlip on the left. Not quite the sticky feet I'm used to from him, but good form so far.
Barkadu salutes.
Artlip double pike, and there is the stick I was looking for from him. Had to swing his arms a couple of times, but at the end of the day, he still got the stick. Even got a little smile from Coach Randy Jepson over there. That's pretty tough to do.
And Penn State's been great tonight.
Here's a look at that double pike. Fight for it, fight for it. Got it.
The Buckeyes, Jesse Pekele.
On the high bar, this is Pierce Wolfgang, first man up for the Wolverines. And at this point, Dean, they just need to hang on and avoid any disaster to seal the deal on this meet. Just the dismount left for Pierce. Triple back. Very nicely done. That is big amplitude on that dismount. The home crowd going crazy for that one.
Wolfgang's last 2 meets, 13.65 and a 13.55. I think he's going to run those down.
These judges have been pretty tight on high bar the whole night, but look at the amplitude. 3 flips. Almost kicked out one of the lights in the ceiling here. Mistake over there on the rings, though, for Pekele. Rings usually a cleaner event. A dismount gave him a little bit of trouble there.
Nebraska. Luke James, 10th in the country. Again, the Cornhuskers #1 in the country on the vault.
See his right hand there taped together. We mentioned it earlier. Had an injury to his finger just this week. Doesn't seem to be bothering him too much, though. It's a 2.5. Nicely done. Very similar to Paul Judah in the sense that the form coming onto the table and in the air is just exceptional. A little hop on the landing there, but not a whole lot you can take. That should score well in the 14s.
James pumped up. How about the night that Matt Cormier's had as he's getting ready to go on the floor. Will out with a 13.75 career high. 2 career highs. So Robble's got 2 and Matt's got 2.
And Matt is one of those guys that's always had so much potential. He's always been great, but similar to his teammate Michael Giroux, really plagued by injuries. So it's great to see him in full force tonight. And there's a great opening pass. That double front there in combination. Beautiful landing. Another stick from Cormier. That's how you score big on floor. Land and don't move. Meanwhile, Pommel Horse, Will Hauk finishes his dismount there. Very nice. Nice connection work down the side there. Still has the sticky feet. Gave away a couple tenths on the arm swing, but almost no steps or hops in this routine so far.
So Evgeny on the high bar, finished second to Penn State's Michael Giroux a year ago, the Big Ten Championships in Illinois.
Dismount there for Cormier on floor. No exception to the sticky feet that he's had that entire routine. Evgeny on high bar, right side of your screen. Nice release moves there into the German Giant sequence again.
Arthur Ashton coming off a 13-4.
Just the dismount here for Evgeny. Double-double. Doesn't quite get the stick, but he did what he needed to do. Good form throughout. That'll be a good score for the Wolverines.
Arthur Ashton, 25th in the country on the rings.
Showing really nice strength there, good control.
So Nathan York will follow up Luke James. James, by the way, tied his career high, 14-2. It's the third 14-2 of the year for Luke James.
Double pike dismount on rings, don't see that too often. Nicely done over there by the Buckeyes. But right now, time for the vault. I saw him stick this a few weeks ago. Oh, I thought he was gonna do it again. Just barely takes a small step back. That'll still be a great score for Nebraska. Dean, this race for second place is about to get really interesting with this vault rotation.
You know it. Two box, Big Ten Network star, Karsikas on the left. For Illinois, Preston Nye coming off a 13-7, well below his career high.
I mentioned for Karsikas how aggressive he is on high bar. Floor is no different, and you see from that opening pass exactly what we're talking about. But look at the amplitude there, almost a little too much on that combination pass.
Matt Cormier, his third career high tonight with a 14.05 on the floor. Wow.
He is having himself a day. Nice strength there from Karsikas on the floor exercise. Does a straight body plunge, presses up to the handstand. That is so difficult.
Paul Judah. The all-around race is so tight between Judah and Richard. Judah, his last two meets, 13.85 and 14.3. The 14.3, that's his career high.
Garcigas just barely misses the stick over there on floor, but all eyes are on high bar right now for Paul Judah. Big release coming up. Layout. Oh, and that was almost the save of the century. He was too close to the bar on that layout. Kovacs tried to do an endo up to a handstand, didn't quite make it. That's a 5/10 deduction for swinging back down the wrong way on the bar. But Dean, he avoids disaster. Most athletes would have fallen off completely on that. The Michigan faithful right ahead of us here in Chrysler Center. Everybody standing on their feet for the Olympian Paul Judah. Just the dismount. With authority, Paul Judah. Another stuck landing.
He's got a smile of a champion.
There's that dismount. Full twisting double layout. And he's so good at knowing exactly where he is in the air. Over on rings, though. That triple back from Cameron Nelson. Big airtime over there. That's a big dismount worth a lot of difficulty points for his start value.
Cameron Nelson, 20th in the country as we wait for his score. Chase Mondi next to go on the ball for the Cornhuskers.
And he does a big vault, Dean. It's the triple twist. Same vault we saw from the Illini's Garrett Schooley. He can go big on this event. Nicely done. Little bit of form in the air there. Not as clean as he's capable of, but really great amplitude. Probably a 3/10 leg separation there at the beginning as he goes from the springboard up onto the table. You've got to keep your legs glued together. But the vault itself, beautiful.
Last up on the floor, Josh Carnes for Penn State. On the horse, Brandon Dang. Dang, who has put up a 15 on the horse. Second in the country, first in the Big Ten. Special gymnast on the horse, Brandon Dang.
He is exceptional at this event. And I don't just mean in the conference, I mean in the world. One of the highest start values we'll see on any apparatus. And he just makes it look easy. That triple Russian he did on one pommel, it's almost unfair. 2 one-arm spins, that one directly into a flop sequence. So difficult.
Even during the season, Coach Ribeiro has been traveling the world, right, with Brandon Dang?
He has, just came back last week, actually, from Turkey. They flew back and competed the very next day. But nothing can shake the force of nature on pommel horse that is Brandon Dang. Barnes over on floor, left-hand side of your screen. Small hop on the dismount. Pretty nice. There's that one-arm spin from Brandon Dang, and another one right into what's called a flop sequence. Multiple spins on one pommel. Incredible work.
He'll look to win back-to-back horse titles tomorrow night. Again, that's 7 o'clock right here on the Big Ten Network. Fred Richard with a chance to win the all-around with a big score. He is ready. #1 in the country. His last 2 meets a 14.35. He did have a 13.3 at the Winter Cup. I got to talk to the Winter Cup judges, though, I think.
Might have had some chalk in their eyes or something. Fred has some dynamic release moves, big difficulty. There's the Casino, full twisting double layout. Done beautifully. He's not done yet. Here's another one in the tugs position called the Coleman. So confident on these release moves. Meanwhile, left-hand side of your screen, Tyler Rockwood, a little struggle in that handstand, but had some big strength earlier on in that rings routine. Needs a good dismount here.
Just needs a 12.9 to win the all-around title.
And he should get that handily. Here it is, double-double. And he finishes with an exclamation point with the stuck dismount in front of the home crowd. Very artistic right there The full spin right into the one-arm giant. He doesn't have to do that. He just does it for style points, and it doesn't get better than that.
Superstar.
Absolutely. He's got the personality for it, too. I mean, he's only got about 8 billion followers on social media.
Taylor Christopoulos. He's 11th in the country. He's the last to go for Nebraska. Then we'll have Ian Sandoval, who's also in the all-around. Dang, 14.85, the #1 score tonight on the horse.
Oh, and scrambles to stay on his feet. Does Christopoulos. That was a gorgeous vault. It looked to me like he was trying to stick that vault, and unfortunately, when you try to think about the stick, sometimes you end up under-rotating, having to fight to stay on your feet.
And next up, on the pommel horse,
Ian Sandoval.
Ian Sandoval.
He's so good, yet I feel like I need to tell him what time nap time is. You know, he looks so young.
Nice full spin there. It's called a kier. We mentioned it earlier. Sandoval had a phenomenal first half of the season. Big time injury on rings at the Winter Cup. Really fought his way back into the lineup over the last couple of weeks. He's putting the team first every step of the way. Nice travel there in that flared position. Just the dismount. Nicely done. Little arm circle there. Never want to see that on a horse dismount, but he's pretty happy with it.
Bright future for Mr. Sandoval.
See that flared travel called a Savato. Right up to the dismount. Pretty fluid, a little bit off to the side on the angle there, but not bad.
So the Michigan Wolverines will win their 5th in a row and their 22nd overall. They'll stand all alone in 2nd place, just 6 behind Sandoval's team, Illinois. And Michigan will win the all-around. Fred Richard with an 83.45. Judah with an 81.75. Michigan with a 330.75. Penn State, you're right, barely beats Nebraska for the silver. Nebraska will slide in to the bronze.
Such a close competition there for that 2nd spot, but Michigan 5 in a row, just establishing dominance and a dynasty over these last 5 years here in the Big Ten.
It is indeed great to be a Michigan Wolverine as Nor Davis hands the trophy to Coach Chow. The Michigan Wolverines, 5 in a row, and they're your 2025 Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Champions. Don't forget, more Michigan is coming up. We'll have Michigan and Oregon in softball. The all-around stories, more Michigan. Fred Richard with the 83.45 and Paul Judah with the 81.75. Michigan and more Michigan, as that's going to wrap it up tonight from Ann Arbor, but we'll be back tomorrow 7 o'clock for the individual championships. Congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines as they win their 22nd team title and 5th in a row, and Fred Richard, your all-around champion. Coming up in softball, Michigan and Oregon. For Brandon Burns, I'm Dean Linke. We'll see you tomorrow, 7 Eastern, to crown the individual champions on the Big Ten Network.